You can make this little picture bigger. Don't screw with the camera.
We now should be streaming every place. Let me give me a moment because I'm going to mute everybody. I'm even going to mute you guys. All right. Let me turn off our music. It's lovely to have it in the background, but we're going to start the service right now. And if other people who are co-hosts could please let people in, I would be appreciative. And Cantor, I cannot see you right now. I'm hoping that you are ready. Let me just find you really quickly so you can give me the thumbs up. I just miss you, Noah. Noah, can you give me a thumbs up? I got a thumbs up from Noah. That's perfect. All right. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I want to welcome you all to Equality Shabbat. So often I'm asked, why are we doing Equality Shabbat right now? Here we are a week before Thanksgiving. And then I usually follow up the people who question me, isn't LGBTQ Pride honored in June? Isn't Black History Month and Jewish Disability and Inclusion Month honored in February? And I agree with them. I say yes, yes, and yes to all of their questions. But then I share with them two key points. One is that we can never have too many services focused on equality. And this afternoon I was thinking about that idea because I think every one of our services is probably focused on equality in some way. Whenever we say the Shema, we're talking about unity, connection, being equal to one another, about being in partnership with all that is holy. And then I was also thinking about that idea that we are taught over 36 times to love our neighbor as ourselves within our Torah, that some variation of this golden rule is found that many times, double high. So there's one idea that equality really is in everything we do and in every service we do, and that we need to always be reminded to reach out to others, regardless of how much they're a direct reflection of us or not, because in our hearts and our souls, we are all reflections of one another and of God. And then sadly, the other reason is because tomorrow, November 20th, is Transgender Remembrance Day. And it's a day where we focus on a gender minority that has suffered hardships that we can barely comprehend. And thank God our world is changing, where our world is becoming more accepting, especially in places like LA and New York, big metropolises, where people care less and less about gender and more just about who the person is. And later in the service, of course, to honor Transgender Remembrance Day, which starts tomorrow, we're going to have our congregant, also a local business person, and also an activist, Michaela Mendelson, speak. So when we speak about equality, I always like to bring up the idea of B'Tselem Elohim, that we were taught on the sixth day of creation that we were all created B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God, all of us. And we need to remember that whenever we think that someone is not like us, and that seems to be somehow inferior to us. It's not. Every one of us is in the image of God. And that we're with somebody who we disagree with, whose politics are different than ours, whose lifestyles are different than ours. We always need to go back to B'Tselem Elohim and think, well, because they're created in God's image, they too are holy. We just need to remember that. And we can make it through any conflict we have, any difficult situation. So right now, I'd like everyone to reach out across screens and give each other either virtual high fives or virtual hugs, a little hugging here. Let's wave at one another. And now we're going to continue with Shalom Aleichem. And if you've got a book, that's found on page 142. But tonight, the first verse is going to be very different. We're going to be using the feminine for our angels instead of the male on the first verse. And there was a link in your email, your e-blast yesterday that gave you a pamphlet with some of the changes we'll be doing tonight. If you have that, great. If not, I am going to try to find it and put it up for you. Here we go. This is one from past years. I think it will work. And that way you can call this up and this file, and it should have the correct prayers in it. And if you'd like to find a digital prayer book, here is a link for that also. So I'm going to throw it to the Cantor, who is going to lead us in a prayer that speaks about angels. And once again, that first verse will be a little bit different. Cantor?
Shalom Aleichem, Malachiot Asharet, Malachiot Elyon. Oy, 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 mi kedosha, rodefet shalom, Ashchina berucha היא. בואכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. אוי 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 אוי, מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Shalom, Malachi, Shalom, Malachi, Melech, Malachi, Amelachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
So now we continue with Lachado D. If you have a book, it is on page 138. Lachado D was written by Halevi Alkabetz, and his name is hidden in the first letter of each line. And it spells out his name, Shlomo Halevi. That's how he went. His name's hidden in plain sight. And often we have found that as Jews, we've had to hide in plain sight and at times of danger. And so has the LGBTQ community. They've had to hide at so many times in history, so they would be safe from persecution and harm. Well, it's our job to find each soul, to discover each name that's hidden, to find each human being that is hidden away within our community. Just as Shlomo Halevi was hidden within his text, well, we need to find those others who might be hidden and let them know that we want to create a community that is based in equality and that we can be accepting of all and that no one has to hide their true essence. So let us welcome the Sabbath bride. Let us welcome her for her who she is, whoever that might be. So we're going to turn to page 138, and we're going to be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And we're going to rise at that last verse and truly welcome her into our homes, into our hearts, and into our lives. Cantor.
לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל מיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, וראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי. כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please rise if you are able and face the door to welcome Shabbat. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
And now it's my honor to ask Maxine and Peter to light tonight's Shabbat candles. If you'd like to say Shabbat Shalom or talk about the candlesticks, you can. You're just going to wave tonight, huh? We can't hear you. I can't hear you still.
I know. I'm just mumbling to myself. Don't worry. And you think after all this time I'd know to unmute myself. That's what I was saying.
So would you like to say anything before you light the candles?
Good job.
The Shabbos, right?
Baruch Hashem. So why don't you light the candles then, and Cantor will begin singing.
Okay.
I can't. I'm going to stand up.
La 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 Baruch atah קידשנו במצוותיו, וציוונו להדליק נר, וציוונו להדליק נר, וציוונו להדליק נר של השבת.
I'm now going to ask our rabbinic intern, Jade, to take over for a few moments. She'll be leading us for part of this service. If you don't know Jade, she is wonderful. Please greet her when you see her around the building or on Zoom. A wonderful personality, a wonderful future rabbi, and just has a great presence. So Jade, please start talking and you should appear.
Thank you, Rabbi John. You're gonna make me cry. You know, Adele's album is already out this week. I'm a little emotional already, so thank you for that fantastic intro. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's so wonderful to see all of you on our screens, and thank you for allowing us in your homes. That's something we don't often talk about on our Zoom. When you have your camera at home, you're being a little vulnerable, so I want to say thank you for that. We are going to read on our handout that's in the chat, the section that says B'Tselem Elohim. Rabbi John gave us a great intro to B'Tselem Elohim, and we are going to read together this beautiful piyut, a liturgical poem, before we head into the next section of our tefillah, our prayer together. B'Tselem Elohim. We are all made B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. You reflect God through your soul, through your mind, and through your body. We honor today the body that holds, celebrates, and expresses the person who is you. We honor your hands as they do the work of creation, your daily chores, and the work of your adventures. Your hands are a gift. We honor your feet, which carry you on this amazing journey of your life, to places near and far, through the intimacy of your home and to the ends of the earth. Your feet are a gift. We honor your head, wherein lie your thoughts, great and simple. It is the keeper of your dreams. Your head is a gift. We honor your belly, your gut, center of your passions, the locus of your strength, courage, and endurance. Your belly is a gift. We honor you and your body because you are a gift. May you be blessed today and every day with the knowledge of your wholeness, your strength, and your beauty. We now sing the Baruch Hu, and the Baruch Hu is a call to worship together. And tonight, let's bring our whole body, our whole selves, our whole beautiful selves that was created in B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of Adonai, to our prayer this evening. If you are able to, please rise as we sing together the Baruch Hu.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד, המבורך, המבורך לעולם
We are now headed into the Shema. The Shema means listen. Social action is my favorite thing. Social justice is why I'm becoming a rabbi, and it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. And in those circles, we talk about how the farther you are from an issue, the easier it is to talk about and philosophize about that issue. We may be not directly affected for certain issues of certain rights or discriminations. But Judaism teaches us that complacency has no place for us. We say the Shema every day. Listen to God, but also listen to each other. We listen to what's happening in our community and for other people. We are moved out of complacency to listen. And then, before we act, we go to Ve'ahavta. We think about love. So our actions don't come out of fear or prejudice. They come from love and chesed and kindness. And so we sing the Shema together today to remember that we are united. We are listening to other people who are not like us. And that we hold love as one of our truest, most core values. We sing the Shema together. Please rise if you are able.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malachuto, Le'olam Avaed.
Ve'ahavta
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Jade, thank you. Those are beautiful words you shared with us tonight. So we're going to continue with another reading that I placed into the chat window in case you don't have the shalom sheets that were part of the weekly e-blast that we sent out yesterday. And all of these readings, just for your reference, come from a prayer book called Siddur Sha'ar Zahav. And it's a prayer book that comes out of one of the LGBTQ communities, congregations in San Francisco. And the prayer book is truly beautiful, filled with amazing pieces in it. I have a copy in my office if anybody ever wants to look at it. But right now, let us read this together. I know that we can't hear each other's voices, but please do it out loud. It's good to hear your own voice do a reading. Twilight people. As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For the twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in between roles at the intersections of histories or between place and place. We are crisscross paths of memory and destination, streaks of light swirled together. We are neither day nor night. We are both, neither, and all. May this sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions. May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight. We cannot always define. We can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight. We continue with the Micha Mocha. The Micha Mocha is found on page 158. It speaks about crossing a sea. It speaks about the joy that after a sea has been crossed that we feel. And if that sea is understanding our differences and coming together as one, then that truly is a sea that needs to be crossed each day. Micha Mocha, page 158. Cantor.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ובניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, מלכותך ובניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, ידה די 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 ידה די 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 ידה די 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 ידה די 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 ידה די 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 ידה די 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 ידה די 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 זה לי ענו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ועד ידה די 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 ידה די 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 dai.
We now turn to Vishamru, found on page 161. Vishamru reminds us that we are commanded to both observe and to protect Shabbat. Shabbat is that day of perfection, that day when we are all equal, that day when we all care about one another, a day without prejudice. And it comes each week to remind us what life could be like in a world where we all are truly united as one. So now, Vishamru, our Sabbath blessing. Cantor.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדוד ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדוד ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את לעשות את השבת אותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת את אותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת את אותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם.
And now we take a few moments to think about those who need a healing prayer. I have a list of names in front of me, but as I read them, please, in the chat window, add additional names of people that you were thinking about. On our Misha Barak list, Jim Banlin, Richard Barrett, Bella Kane, Gil Cherish, Spiros Chiatis, Miles Dietz, Diane Fantel, Sharon Feist, George Gugassi, Bonnie Halpern, Bill Harris, Jessica Israelite, Sarah Knopf, Michael Levy, Ramon Lucindo, Adrian Martison, Jackie Jean Michaels, Bryn Pine, Herman Presby, Brandon Rapport, Wendy Rosenblum, Beverly Rossov, Marvin Sagerman, Gail Silva, Rose Sillerick, Esther Weissman, Eric Smith, Henny Weisselfogel, Devorah Chaya Bat Miriam Vesvi Tov, Svi Hillel Ben Ratzallah Yeshayahu. We have additional names: Fran Bowman, Arlene Friedman, Chris and Betty Cronin, John Cochran, David Moline, Fran Moline. Any more names? Charlotte Cohen. So tonight I'm going to be reading a slightly different Misha Barak prayer before the Cantor sings Misha Barak. And it is found in your handout. Misha Barak Avatenu V'Imotenu, our God who blessed our ancestors, Abraham and Sarah and Hagar, and who bestows miraculous things to those who are open to your blessings, send your insight and love to all those named tonight as life's journey brings change. Like Sarah, may we have the strength to continue forward, even if we are not sure where our path will lead. Like Abraham with his son Isaac, may we have the courage to turn challenges into blessings, even as we grapple with life's unmarked paths. Like Hagar with her son Ishmael, may we be granted a glimpse of what is divine so that we may turn our fear into faith. A source of all who reveal the Torah to our people, let us be open to witnessing your ways in our lives. We bless you, O God, who guides our journey. And together we say, Amen. And now the singing of Misha Barak. Cantor Noah.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. מי שברך אמותינו מקור רווחה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with רפואה שלמה. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We now turn to page 164 for the Amidah. If you're able, please rise. And as you chant the Amidah along with the Cantor, followed by some silent prayer, think about the world we live in and think about how you can reach out to others, how you can reach across aisles, how you can reach across any barrier to try to connect to others, to try to make this world a smaller and a better place. Let us rise if we are able. The Amidah.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחלקל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ועופר עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ובדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש בשמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעלו חסלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We take a few moments for silent prayer. When you're done with your silent prayer, you can be seated.
רצונים רעבים והגיון ליבי יהיו לרצון עם רפי והגיון ליבי לפניך יהיו לרצון עם רפי והגיון ליבי יהיו לרצון עם רפי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני צורי וגואלי אדוני צורי אדוני צורי וגואלי Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you, oh my rock, my rock, and my Redeemer.
It's my honor to introduce tonight's guest speaker. Michaela Mendelson is a congregant, and she's also a parent of two of our children, and also the spouse to Carmel. And they are an amazing family, and we are honored to have them within our community. Michaela has done so many things for us, including playing on our Kol Tikva softball team, and they always need help. On a more serious note, Michaela is an activist, a public speaker, a writer, a businesswoman. She is she sits on the board of directors for the Trevor Project, and she's the founder of the California Transgender Workplace Project, which is truly an amazing project. I'm not sure she'll be speaking about it tonight, but it tries to what works at assisting transgender individuals with getting jobs. Which is so vital. Michaela speaks passionately about a wide range of transgender and LGBT subjects, and she's been an inspiring speaker for countless conferences, universities, and organizations, as well as taking a seat as an expert for both panels and workshops. But most importantly, her words are empowering and often give answers to the internal questions many of us are always asking. But so many of us never have the courage to actually ask. So it's my honor to ask Michaela to unmute herself, and then her image should appear on screen. Michaela?
Rabbi, I hate that buildup. It's just too much. In 10 minutes, I'm not going to solve my own problems, let alone anybody else's. But I do... thank you. I gotta say that even though I'm not at, we're not all together in temple, but just sitting here and listening to the wise, loving words of the rabbi and the beautiful soulful music of the Cantor, there is no place in this world that brings me back to the center of my heart more than you all. I think I just lost the screen. Hold on while I try and get you all back.
We can see you and we can hear you, just to let you know.
Oh, okay. 1 second.
Someone get a snapshot of this.
Okay. Funny. Look, my name is, I've already been introduced, Michaela Avery Mendelson. I did my naming at the temple I guess it was about 5 years ago. My renaming, the rabbi and the Cantor did a ritual mikveh for me at the University of Judaism, and it was a wonderful experience. And I have to say that night was really special. The rabbi came to me and said, and told me about his goal he had had for years of doing a rainbow Shabbat. And I was so honored that I was going to be able to participate in the first one. And we brought together people from the community, the LGBT community. And it was interesting because the left half of the audience that night in Temple were people from the LGBT community. People kind of moved to their sides. And the right side were the congregants. It was a pretty good sized house that night. And the trans chorus of LA sang, and it was quite beautiful, the service. But what was so remarkable was right after the service, how both sides, the two sides just mixed together and hugged each other. And the love was palpable in the room that night. It was, I have to, Temple Kol Tikva is really an amazing congregation and an amazing space. And it's sacred to me. And so wherever I am in this world, wherever I wind up, I want to be here as many times as I can. I don't have a lot of time to speak. I know the rabbi doesn't want me to take up the whole service. So I wasn't sure what to speak about. And I could speak about helping, transgender children and supporting, causes, or, I could tell my story. And, when I thought of telling my story to such an intimate audience, usually I've spoken maybe 300 times to groups like, schools where young people, they can maybe be influenced by what I have to say, but I don't know them personally. Or at the Museum of Tolerance, I'd speak to large groups of educators. And so this is a little different. It's a little for me to do this, and I'll try not to spend too much time because my story can take up a lot of time. But I was born in the 50s in Bronx, New York. And then when I was 2 years old, we moved to Long Island. I can remember the youngest memory I have of having issues with gender identity. I was 6 years old, and I remember hiding out in the bathroom, trying on my sister's clothes, and how natural it felt, and how, for me, but I was just so frightened of what my sister or my parents would think. So, I very much hid that part of me away. When I went through school, the ages of like 12 to 16, 15, I experienced a tremendous amount of bullying. It was just really awful. And I can't tell you that it was because I was, outwardly expressing what I was feeling inside. I felt I kept it pretty hidden, but somehow I was still getting othered. And that whole experience was, every day of going to school and not knowing if I'd be kicked and spit on and called names. And it got to a crescendo where in my first year of high school, the school bully in the boys' shower actually urinated on me in front of 30 other boys. And as you can imagine, that was so painful personally. I'm lucky I wasn't suicidal. A lot of kids that go through this kind of bullying, and that's one of the reasons I've been involved with the Trevor Project for years, is, do think of, try, or successfully commit suicide. And, So bullying is really a serious thing. For me, I just hated myself because of it. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror anymore. So I went through then what I might call my first transition. I went home that summer, lost about 15, 20 pounds. I was a little overweight. Started running miles a day, working out hours a day. Within 2 years, I set the school records and the high school records in the city of Torrance for pull-ups and obstacle course and rope climb. And I mean, I transformed myself into someone that, everyone would look up to, right? That I was a jock now, and the girls would like me, and the guys would respect me. But the gender issues didn't go away. I was dealing with them in private, and I did meet a wonderful, beautiful girl, Barbara, in my early 20s, and we had a romance and got married. I had 3 fabulous, fabulous children. And I'll talk more about that. But it was I tried to introduce early in the marriage some of these things that were coming up for me, and it became very embarrassing for me with my wife, and so I just put it in the closet of my marriage for 25 years. And what happened was I was dealing with this in private with therapists and such, but I was suppressing it. And you can always suppress who you are, the real things inside of you, for so long without getting sick. And I was getting sick. I was getting physically sick. I was getting emotionally sick. I was very involved in, as a business person. I was president for 9 years of a national franchise association, involved in politics. But this got so bad that I wound up having to hide away for a year in my house and just do business through a couple of people in my company who knew what was going on with me. And after about a year of hiding away, one morning I woke up with a little voice in my head, of course my own, saying, Michael, my name at the time, if you don't face your gender issues, you're not going to make it. And when I first started this out, at 6 years old, there was no internet, there was no computers, there was no place to look for what I was experiencing. But at this point, I could look online and found a dozen books about being transgender, and on every page I found myself. I read them all. I read at least a dozen books in 1 week. And my symptoms, 90% of them went away within 1 to 2 weeks, because I realized what it was. I knew there was something I could do about it. And I went to a therapist who specialized in it. And then with their help, realized what I needed to do. I went on a dose of hormones, estrogen and progesterone. And and it was really interesting, because my whole life, I'd wake up every morning feeling like I had this very tall hill to climb. Like every day was going to be a struggle. I think there was, what was it? One of the, in Greek mythology, was one of those characters, he had to roll a rock up to the top of the hill and it would always come down and have to start over and again every single day. And that's how it felt. But about 3-4 days after taking the hormones, all of a sudden the feeling that came over me was so different, and that hill started to level out. And it wasn't, I didn't feel like I was going to have that struggle like I did before, and there was room for change and healing in my life. But what I didn't give enough credence, even with everything I'd read and talked to people, was how difficult that was going to be for my family. And when I talk for long talks around the country, I'll talk often about what's not considered much, and that's what the family goes through. And so for my 3 kids, they didn't want me to come to their high school or their middle school or their grade school as I was transitioning and changing. They were embarrassed of me. So all of a sudden that life, I was so close to my kids. Everything they did, I was a part of. Everything that happened in their schools, I was a part of. It was really a special time in my life. And this just ended. My spouse wasn't supportive. She had issues with it. We were having arguments in front of the kids. That wasn't healthy. But like I said, even with all that, and as painful as it was, I wasn't suicidal. It was just very, very painful for me. But then one night, I went to my then 12-year-old daughter's class, 12 or 13, and I went to her open house. I didn't tell her I was going to go, and I kind of, didn't say who I was, and I went kind of anonymously. And there was poems on her wall, on the wall of the classroom, and I was reading all the kids' poems. And then I got to my daughter's, and it said, one of the parts of the poem said, when I was 4 years old, I would sit on my daddy's shoulders, and I was on top of the world, and nothing could ever hurt me. And now my world has come crashing down. And even the sound of his voice sickens me, and things will never be the same. Something snapped in me. The next night, I found myself driving in the car with my then 19-year-old son, and stopped at a light and getting out of the car to step in front of oncoming traffic. And my son grabbed me, pulled me to the car, and looked in my eyes and held me and said, "Dad," as he would call me then, "I don't care what gender you're in, this family needs you." It was at that moment I started to realize that pulled me back into myself. And I realized this was a selfish act if I had gone through with it. And the next day I saw my therapist, and she was shocked when I told her, because I never talked about suicide. But the thing was that I could deal with the internal pain, but I couldn't deal with the pain that came from thinking that my family was better off without me. And that's why I was going to end my life. And she says to me, if you think that this is going to solve their problems and make them feel better, it will be the worst thing that could ever happen to them. That every day of their lives, they would be wondering what they could have done to stop you. And I haven't had a suicidal thought since, because I realized, that it would have been a selfish thing, and how much I would have hurt them. So I went on. My relationship with them was rocky for a few years until I wasn't so wrapped up on my own pain and my own transition, my own trying to deal with getting along with people in business for the first time, as a woman, and the whole different experiences I was going through, and friendships that were, some of them falling apart because people couldn't deal with it. That I didn't get it for a while, what they were going through. And once I realized what they had lost, they had me on this pedestal. I was this hero figure to them. And, they didn't know how to deal with it when I changed, because there was no sign of it. They never saw it coming. Once I realized that, it created a psychic space for them to come back to me. And I'm happy to say I have 2 wonderful grandchildren that are just about the same age as my 2 young children now. So they get along, and they get along marvelously. I have this wonderful extended family. We'll all be together again next Thursday. I treasure those times, seeing all 5 of my kids together, plus my 2 grandkids, 7 kids. I get along with my ex, but it's a little rocky. But I've learned how to find myself, who I am, my voice, as a transgender woman, businesswoman, mother, grandmother, and a Jew. And my spiritual journey is one of my most important parts of who I am. I just want to just end by saying my story might be a little dramatic in terms of, finding yourself or, something inside, but really for every one of us, it's just a metaphor, because every one of us, or at least most of us, have hidden gems inside of us that were suppressed. They were suppressed because of society. They were suppressed because of our parents or peers. It could have been as simple as, oh, I wanted to be a singer, and everybody told me I was crazy, so I became a nurse or whatever. Living your true self and who you are is, yes, it takes courage, but it just takes a willingness. And thank you for giving me these moments to talk, Rabbi. I'm sorry if I rambled on.
You did not ramble on. Those were inspiring words that teach us to really be true to ourselves and to our hearts. And that's the best thing we can do for our families, and for those around us and for ourselves. So thank you for sharing your story. And I do wish there was even more time for you to do that. We need to find an evening where we just have you come on as a guest speaker with no service. I want to take a moment. That's something I was going to do in a few minutes, but I wanted to take a moment right now just to do a prayer in honor of Transgender Day of Remembrance, because after Michaela was speaking, I thought it'd be appropriate to do this prayer. Transgender Day of Remembrance has been observed annually on November 20th since 2009. And a friend of mine, Rabbi Denise Egger, who runs one of the LGBTQ synagogues in Los Angeles, wrote the following prayer a few years back in honor of this day. May the one who brings comfort embrace all who mourn on this Transgender Day of Remembrance, as we hold close the memories of those murdered for being true to their own selves. May the one who brings strength grant courage and fortitude and healing to those who have been attacked, expressing their true gender. May the one who brings hope teach us to let all people express their gender without shame or fear. Praise to you, Adonai, who fills our souls with acceptance, affirmation, love, and blessing. Baruch atah Adonai hamaleh et nishmotenu bekabbalah, bekavana, be'ahava, uvracha. And together we say, Amen. And I'm seeing that we're getting lots of thanks for you, Michaela. I hope you have your chat window open. It's now my honor to ask Rob Moline, our past president, to share some announcements with us. Rob?
Thank you, Rabbi. And Cantor Noah, rabbinic intern Jay, thank you for this very, very lovely service. Michaela, your journey is just wonderful, and your words are very inspiring for us all. We applaud your courage in sharing with us and are so appreciative as you're reading in the chat window. Thank you to Debbie Goldstein for sponsoring this evening. This Sunday, November 21st, is our Dreidel Fest and Hanukkah Boutique. If you like to shop or eat latkes or love music, or like our newest Supreme Court Justice, love beer, this event is for you. Tickets are on sale on our website. We can't wait to see you between 11 and 3 p.m. this Saturday. December 3rd is our Community Hanukkah and Celebration Carnival Shabbat. It's a mouthful. This service that evening will be held at 5:30 p.m. and then we'll join together for a promised yummy Hanukkah dinner, carnival games, music, prizes, and a latke cook-off. We have sponsors for that evening as well: Jerry Margulin, Marshall Financial Management, and Rick and Lisa Birnbaum. Thank you all. Next week, we will again be online only for a lay-led Shabbat, as our clergy have a chance to take time off and be with their families. Please join us. I'm sure it will be a meaningful service. It always is. Keep your eyes on our emails and visit koltikva.org for all registrations and even more events. Thank you all for joining together tonight. Happy Thanksgiving. Go Bruins. Shabbat Shalom.
There is one additional announcement. Our ECC director, Paula Hoffman, wanted me to mention to everyone that tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. we have a Tat Shabbat program, which begins with about an hour of fun. Maybe it's in the arts and crafts room, maybe in the playground, maybe it's with some of our toys. And then we have a short service, which we're also going to be doing up in the upper playground. So please join us tomorrow morning if you have a little one. We'd love to have you. We're now going to turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. We take a moment, we think about those who have recently passed. Gertrude Drucker, who will be buried on Monday, and she is remembered by the Dorn and Drucker families. Donna Frankel, remembered by the Frankel and Schulman families. Betty Dunner, remembered by the Dunner family. Tina Jaffe, remembered by the Jaffe family. And Sandra Goldstein, remembered by the Goldstein family. We also think about those who have died during this season in years past. Herman Bein, Gail Chafkin, Ida Evans, Frida Furman, Bernhard Fischer, Matthew Fisher, Rosa Gershfeld, William Glassberg, Leonard Goldstein, Jenny Karnofsky, Milton Knopf, Adeline Levine, Nancy Mann, Harry Marcus, Cliff Medina, Paul Nussbaum, Alvin Ryder, Ann Rossner, Ed Rubin, Isabel Silverman, Rhea Steinman, Mildred Tallman, Ruth Vaccarino, Philip Wildman, and Sandra Zweig. If you have additional names for our Kaddish or Yortzeit list, please put them in the chat window right now and I'll read them aloud. Any additional names? I'm now going to place the words or transliteration of the Mourner's Kaddish into our chat window so that everyone has them. I'm going to ask you, if you're in the first 7 days of mourning, to please rise, if you're able. I'm going to ask all those who are in the first 30 days of mourning to please rise. I'm going to ask all those in the first year of mourning to please rise. I'm going to ask those observing a Yortzeit to please rise. I'm now going to ask this community to rise to show our support and our love to all those who remember and who mourn. We take a moment. We think about the person we are remembering. And now we say the Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach yiroteh v'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. B'agalav yisman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha. B'rechu. Leila amin kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel and to all humankind. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. If you're with somebody, please put your arm around them as the Cantor sings our closing song. And afterwards, we'll do Kiddush and Hamotzi. So please, if you're with someone, put your arm around them. Cantor.
Shalom במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, שלום עלינו, הוא עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, הוא עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, על כל העולם.
So now, if you have a Kiddush cup, hold it up high. I'd like to see everyone's Kiddush cup nice and high. Let's just see if I can. Great. I see a cup of wine. Let's see who else. Who else do we have that I can add to this image before we? I see Vicky's got something. Let me add that. I see that we've got the bottle of Tahava tea. I see we've got a Kiddush cup here. I see some more wine. Lots of wine. Here we go. I'm going to keep adding people as Cantor leads us in the Kiddush.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן וחיים.
And now you've got a fresh baked challah like I have floating in front of my face. Let me just, oh wait, I wanted to get rid of everyone else. Give me 1 second. So if you've got a challah, please hold it up high. And I'm going to start going through those. Let me see yours. I know we got one right there. Let's add a spotlight. Who else has a nicely, freshly made challah? Anybody? Oh, there we go. Let's see, add spotlight. Anybody else have a challah there? Holding, oh yes, there's Herman Carroll. All right, let's start doing hamotzi right now. Go for it, Cantor.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתיאבון. שבת שלום everybody.
Shabbat shalom. I am now going to unmute everybody so you can all wish each other Shabbat shalom.
Oh, so good. I haven't made one in a while.
You can now unmute yourselves.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Hi.
Have a great day.
Shabbat shalom.
Have a safe ride.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Where's Debbie? Thank you, Debbie.
Shalom.
Sunday is Dreidel Fest. Bye.
Bye.
See you there. Bye.
Thank you, Michaela.
Thank you, Michaela.
Thanks, Rabbi.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Michaela.
Noah.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
Well, lost
Thank you,
Debbie.
Michaela.
No. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Wonderful.
Hey, Annette.
Where's Annette?
Evening, Annette.
Hello, Annette. There she is. Hey, Annette.
Hi, Annette.
I'm going to stop our stream right now.